I'm not making it up. They're actually going to handcuff and fingerprint and make him do the perp walk. Their former president, Donald Trump. Maybe their future president. And maybe that's what they are worried about. The more unbeatable Donald Trump seems to be, given the cataclysmic mental decline of the geriatric Joe Biden and the, well, how shall I put it, intellectually challenged vice president who will more or less automatically take his place when they shuffle him off in a bath chair to the funny farm. Given the parlous state of the Democratic Party in the United States, a victory for Donald J. Trump in the next presidential election was beginning to look well nigh impossible to stop. And so they've come up with a wheeze of a sex finance case, whether or not things were put down as legal fees when they were in fact hush money to some broad that Donald Trump used to allegedly lay down with. They're going to charge him in the District of Manhattan. What could possibly go wrong? Well, of course, peace and calm and amity could break out in the United States at the sight of a man supported by at least half of the electorate of the United States being put in handcuffs and made to do the perp walk. Calm could be one outcome, or total chaos could be another outcome. But there is a third, that as Elon Musk predicted on his platform Twitter, it could be handing Donald Trump not just a victory in 2024, but a landslide victory, maybe even one from a prison cell. Now that would confirm the banana republic status of a country that's built on a giant Ponzi scheme and yet is handing out hundreds of billions of dollars to a country so far away that nobody in the United States, even in the political bubble, could possibly pronounce, spell, or even find on a map the places that they're funding the fighting in. Ask them if they know where Bakhmut is. They don't even know whether it's an important battlefield or not. They told us it was when they were rushing supplies to the front. Strategically vital, the New York Times told us. Now that it's been lost, it's of no strategic importance. The same New York Times tells us. But they don't know where Bakhmut is, what it is. They don't know if you eat, drive, or lick it. It's just a name in Eastern Europe that they have elevated to a matter of such dire principle that the entire future of the existence of mankind on this planet must be tied to it. As I often ask you, are you ready for your son to die over which side of a line Kupiansk is on, when it's been in 4 different countries in the last 100 years? Well, actually, it turns out it doesn't matter whether you're ready to die for it or not. The people that run your countries have already decided that you may very well have to die for it. Or die for Taiwan. If I knew a town in Taiwan, I would now throw it onto the table. It would help me rhetorically. But I literally do not know a single town or city in Taiwan. It's a small island which is part of China. Not according to me, but according to the British government, according to the American government, according to the European Union, according to the United Nations, according to every country in the world, bar 12 satrapies of the United States. One of them, Honduras, just jumped ship, de-recognized Taiwan and re-recognized China. Washington was furious. But Honduras was only doing exactly what the United States did after Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger made their famous visit to Chairman Mao in Beijing and immediately de-recognized Taiwan and recognized China as one country with its capital in Beijing. So why they're getting so angry at little Honduras is a bit hard to discern. But then they created riots in Georgia when the Georgian government tried to implement a law which was written in the United States, which requires people working for foreign entities in the field of NGO work and politics and human rights and all the rest of it. They literally took the wording of the United States law and tried to implement it. And according to the government of the United States, this was a grievous blow against freedom and democracy. I'll be speaking on their freedom and democracy at a conference in Beijing in this coming few days. And we'll be bringing Wednesday's mother of all talk shows direct from Beijing to you. And that's one of the issues we'll be talking about. Imran Khan's life is in danger. I've been saying that to you for months. Many accused me of hyperbole. Many said it was merely a common or garden request by the police and the courts for Prime Minister Imran Khan to present himself in court. Some fools said, well, you know, Benazir and even the Shahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, they presented themselves in court. Yeah, and look what happened to them. Both of them were murdered by the very same people that intend to murder Imran Khan. Imran puts it more diplomatically. He says they're trying to put him in jail so he can't run in the elections. But that won't work, you see, because if the elections are free and fair, then Imran Khan's party will win a landslide victory, whether Imran is behind bars or not. And with that landslide victory, he'll be sprung from jail. And whether or not he is the Prime Minister or the President, he's the leader. And he'll change many things, including jailing the absconding thieves who now infest the so-called cabinet of Pakistan. So do you think they're going to risk that? Imran plainly thinks so. I pray to God that he is right. But I think differently, because I've been in this play before. I tried to save the life of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. I prayed all night when Benazir left Dubai to return to Pakistan for her safety, and I knew in my heart that they were going to murder her, and I know in my heart that they're going to try to murder Imran Khan. There's only one way this can be stopped, and that is for millions upon millions upon millions of people in Pakistan to exercise people power to overthrow the usurpers, the illegal, foreign imported criminal class that has been placed in this puppet regime installed by the United States of America. And there will be no need for any violence, because if enough millions come out onto the streets of Pakistan, the ordinary Jawan will stop firing. In fact, if he doesn't stop firing, he'll run out of bullets. And then the people will disarm him, to be sure. But I have enough faith in the ordinary soldiers of the Pakistan army that they will not shoot down millions of their people. But that's the only way to save Imran Khan. Now, it is the 20th anniversary of the Iraq War, which killed 1 million people and counting, both in the invasion, during the occupation as a matter of deliberate policy. The occupying powers pursuing a deliberate policy of divide and rule between Sunni and Shia, Arab and Kurd, set the Iraqi people against each other, the better themselves to keep control of the country and steal its things. And then, of course, there came the development first of a strengthened Al-Qaeda. You'll remember I said to Tony Blair in the weeks before the war, there are no Al-Qaeda in Iraq, but if you and Bush invade them, there'll be 100,000 Al-Qaeda in Iraq. And how I underestimated that. And then, of course, the birth of something even more monstrous, murderously monstrous than Al-Qaeda, the so-called Islamic State, which cascaded across Iraq and Syria, as the name suggests, but then fanned out across the entire world, including onto our own streets, exploding themselves in places like the Manchester Arena, murdering innocents on London Bridge and elsewhere in London, murdering people at Christmas markets in Germany and in Belgium and in France. Massacres taking place all over the world directly as a result of a war which was a crime and a blunder and which was easily predicted and predictable as such, including by myself and including directly to the face of one of the war criminals, Tony Blair himself. This level of criminality and the disaster which has ensued with murder and mayhem still in Iraq 20 years later is certainly deserving of a hearing at The Hague for war crimes, for crimes against humanity. And my heart leapt when I heard the news that charges had been filed at The Hague for war crimes. On the 20th anniversary, I thought to myself, they've waited a long time, but they have picked exactly the right date, 20th anniversary. Let's see Bush and Blair in court. But of course, it's not Bush or Blair or Alistair Campbell or any of the other war criminals that are going to The Hague. It's Vladimir Putin. Yes, it's the Russians they're going to put on trial for war crimes. Not themselves, not Bush, not Blair, not Netanyahu, not Sarkozy, not Obama, not Clinton, no, Putin. You just couldn't make this level of cynicism up. The United States welcomed this decision of the ICC, even though the United States refuses to join the ICC, even though John Bolton made it clear that they would arrest the judges of the ICC if they attempted to put on trial any American for war crimes committed in Iraq or Afghanistan. In fact, if I'm not remembering it incorrectly, Bolton actually said to one of the judges, "We know where you live. We know where your children work." And then the United States Congress passed a law called the Invasion of the Hague Act. Trust me, I'm not making this up. They passed a law giving themselves the power to invade the Netherlands if The Hague attempted to put any American on trial in front of the ICC, but they are welcoming the decision to put Vladimir Putin on trial. What can you say about this grotesque level of cynicism? The only proper response is to laugh at it. What a pity that we have to laugh in the face of the only international criminal court that we have ever been able to institute. But the German government is taking it very seriously. One of the German ministers has just said, if Vladimir Putin sets foot in Germany, we will arrest him. Really? I'll tell you what, Mr. Minister, Herr Minister, if Vladimir Putin sets foot in Germany, you'll not be in any position to arrest him. He'll be arresting you and liberating Berlin once again. How about that then, Herr Minister? The truth is, all of these foreign invasions and occupations have been a catastrophe, but that doesn't stop them trying it over and over again. 12 years ago, NATO invaded Libya. Why? For what? To put Al-Qaeda and ISIS in power in Tripoli and to empower them to do the kind of mass murder that they did in the Manchester arena. Why? How was that in your interest? How was that in our interest? How was it in the interest of the people of Libya? Afghanistan, 20 years we labored. We murdered thousands. We lost thousands of our own people. Their lives, their limbs, their minds. We spent $1 trillion of our own treasure only to hand it back to the very same people that we invaded 20 years before to drive out. Syria, we tried it all again. We tried to put ISIS and Al-Qaeda in control of Damascus, right next to Israel, on the Mediterranean, a European lake. What could possibly have gone wrong with that? The lunatics didn't just take control of the asylum 20 years ago. They are still running the asylum. And they're trying to take you to war, not with a broken-backed banana republic like Iraq or like Libya. No, they want to take you to war with hypersonically, intercontinentally ballistic missile, powerful nuclear superpowers at the same time, Russia and China. As Mr. Churchill famously once said in another context, up with this we shall not put. Will we? Because if we do put up with it, if you do allow these people to drag you over that cliff, you deserve it. You deserve everything that's going to happen to you. That's my point of view. You can tell me yours. This is a university, after all, and unlike many universities, you are free to speak back to the teacher. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.